on Facebook.com/LiberalDanRadio, and it's a post by old MTG about Democrats created Obamacare, and it requires all health insurance plans to cover 10 essential health benefits, whether you need them or not. You are required to have benefit coverage for pregnancy, maternity, newborn care, mental health, substance abuse disorders, and pediatric, even though many people don't need these plan benefits and would like a simpler, less costly plan. Well, those are two separate things, first of all. Whether or not they need those items and whether or not they would like a simpler, less costly plan. They might like a simpler, less costly plan, but still might need some of those things like, mental health, substance abuse, because you can't guarantee that you're not going to have mental health issues in the future. You can't guarantee that you're not going to have substance abuse issues in the future. Simple as that, right? So that should be easy enough, but these are things that you might need, and if you need them and aren't paying for them, then guess what? Not going to have them. Plus, if you have a large pool and many of the people are not using these coverages, then the actuarial costs of those coverages themselves are going to be spread out across a larger pool, meaning the cost for each individual to get that coverage is going to be a smaller and smaller amount. But that's not even the point I'm trying to make here, which is the fact that there are several coverage benefits that people could have that have actuarial costs of zero. For example, I'm a cisgender male. What is the cost for me to have pregnancy coverage on my plan? The actuarial cost is zero. It adds $0 more to my plan to have that on it because I will never become pregnant, and as such, I will never have to pay that. I'll never incur those costs. So the actuarial cost to have that on my coverage is zero. And if there's a health insurance company out there that's trying to claim that it's going to cost more than zero to have that on my plan, then they're lying to you. Other things. What is the actuarial costs for me to have pediatric coverage on my personal coverage? Zero. Why? Because I'm almost 50. I'm not a child, so therefore I don't need pediatric care. So sure, yeah, if you don't need to cover me for pediatric care, why is it on there? But still, it's on there. And the actuarial cost of it being on there is zero. $0. So all MTG doesn't really understand that these plans are not more costly because they include things that I can never use because they're not necessary for somebody like myself. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't require that all plans cover these things for those people who do need them. Because again, as everybody is more covered for everything that they might need, it spreads out the costs all across the entire pool and therefore lowers the costs for everybody who does need them. And again, I'm not contributing anything or shouldn't be contributing anything towards pregnancy coverage because again, my actuarial cost is zero. But for those people who do need pregnancy coverage, that'll be covered at a much more affordable rate for everybody because everybody has it. And that's how insurance is supposed to work. You offset high risk with low risk when there is risk involved. But conservatives don't tend to understand how insurance works because they think, their big plan back when they were proposing something in opposition to the Affordable Care Act, their plan was to allow for companies to sell insurance across state lines, meaning that you could have an insurance company in one state selling coverage in another state, but that insurance company would only have to deal with the coverage rules that other state has and not the specific state you're selling it in is, which completely violates the 10th Amendment, because a state should be able to determine what insurance must be in their state above and beyond what the Affordable Care Act requires. And B, it would also create high-risk pools, which basically says if you're not covered, that you have to go onto a high-risk pool, and thus being a giveaway to the insurance companies who are only going to then cover the low-risk individuals, and pushing the high-risk individuals to those high-risk pools means that those high-risk pools are going to be needlessly expensive because the only people on them are going to be the high-risk people, and the states that run these high-risk pools are not going to be able to, have the benefit of offsetting that high risk with low risk because that's how insurance is supposed to work, but conservatives don't understand that. That's why they come up with these high-risk pool crap. Anyway, so that's another reason why old MTG is wrong about insurance, about the Affordable Care Act. Simple as that.